This meeting to order. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board. President of today's meeting are
Tom Cantwell.
Bob Haley.
Don Radke.
Jeff Romano.
Cynthia Carter.
And Kate Aueter.
Do we have any excused absences?
Not yet. I'm expecting everyone to show.
Okay. First order of business would be to accept the minutes of our prior meeting of May 18th. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any modifications, changes?
It's a small modification, but as I look at it, it's a modification to our modification from last month.
Oh, okay.
It's item number 1, Montgomery Street, and it's in the last, second to last sentence. The board suggested that the 8x8 over, I would like to say noted. I'm always trying to stay away from intentionally telling an applicant what to do. You may disagree here, folks. I'd like to say noted that the 8/8 would line up with the existing and then add 4/4 internal.
Okay.
It may sound technical, but it is.
Yep.
Okay. I will fix these.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other changes or modifications? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted and modified?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. Old business, CA-23-15, 305 Cedric Street. Is that applicant here? Or Cedric Drive, I'm sorry.
The applicant, I have not heard anything more from this applicant at the moment, so, or actually it's their contractor. The owner had asked to put the project on hold, so the contractor had said, can we wait till the next meeting? And it's been 2 meetings now, so I think that we can, or the board can close this until they return with, we don't need to keep it on the agenda, is what I'm saying, yeah.
We should note, we should make a motion that the board wants to close this application at this point.
I think, is that what you were suggesting? I thought you were suggesting hold until they...
No, I think at this point we can probably, or the board can
bring it
close
back.
it and they can certainly bring it back when they're ready. So we can take it off the agenda.
Do you suspect what their intentions are?
Well, I know that the plan is to do repair of their stucco and they're looking at some window replacements, but we don't have I mean, apart from what was in the original application, I'm not sure what the reason is that the applicant wished to hold it off. But.
I make a motion to remove it from the,
To close it.
to close it, remove it from the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. New business, certificate of appropriateness, CA-21-23 M1, 132 East Genesee Street. Modification of a storefront design. Is that applicant here? Come on up. How you doing? Could you give us your name and address for the record?
Sure. Gavin Maloney. I live at 5 Rattle Road, Syracuse.
Okay. Okay, welcome. Tell us what you want to do.
Applying for a modification to an original application. So there are basically two changes. One is there's a change in the storefront. That first change being there were originally divided lights in the main picture window in the storefront, and now they're going to be large single panes. The first drawing that I submitted was kind of a design, and these are really more based on construction, which is possible with the construction. So there were changes in proportion to the storefront. When I was doing the CAD drawings, the divided lights just didn't look right because the proportions changed.
When you say divided light, you mean the transoms?
Exactly right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
So that's one issue. The other issue is when we basically right now the original storefronts were removed, the the structure is exposed to the building, so there's some I-beams holding up that whole front facade, and then some pretty substantial steel posts holding up those I-beams. Those I-beams are deflecting about an inch in the middle, and I had a structural engineer look at it, and he was like, it's probably okay, but I felt more comfortable putting in a steel post. And so if you can see on the new design, there's a rather thicker between the two larger panes of glass on the front. There's a larger you're actually not looking at the post there, you're looking at molding.
Right.
Or you know, face
Around the
trim.
post.
But, you know, so that kind of changes proportions. So again, you know, in order to shore up the building so I can sleep at night. Well, not saying not that it probably would, but we put in a nice solid, you know, reinforcement. It's a 4x4 steel column in there. So it's going to allow the building to exist for probably another 200 years. So that, again, changes the design of that. And the other issue is that, I don't know if you guys have a picture of the original.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do.
But it's actually, the design we're doing now is actually closer to the original.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, you know, I think it's kind of, we're going in the right direction here.
Yep.
So that was my thinking behind that. And you can see as well that in terms of aesthetics, that the uprights that divide the various lights in the front are wider, and that's just, again, that's the aesthetics of compensating for the wideness of that column. So the column is wide, so everything
Changes
else
it.
has to beef up a little bit, or otherwise it's going to look out of proportion.
Right.
So, you know, that's,
I think it looks a little bit more like the original buildings.
I think it's better.
Yep.
The ones on either side.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. The funny thing is when we took everything off, we could see that some of the original kind of paint marks and stuff, and things were kind of lining up a little bit. So, you know, it was kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
Too, that it was kind of like, oh yeah, we're kind of,
Bring it back.
it kind of seems to be going back a little bit to, it's not exact, but
Yeah, right.
kind of going back to what it was a little bit.
The location of your new steel post, is that the major point of the deflection? Is that like the valley?
It's actually, the deflection is actually in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, so it's offset, but the engineer said that it just to even so, that it would be, that would carry a lot of load. It's, you
So
know,
I'm looking at the original, this seems to be, I can't tell if it's one large.
it is.
So if you took your proposal
Oh, yeah, that's true.
and put this column in this, along with the door jamb, in that alignment, and that would open that up, and then you would really get that feel of the circa 1900 image
With one larger pane of glass.
Well,
and then you're burying that column in.
I think we
door.
considered that. I think that's actually, I believe that where we put the post is actually as close as we can get to the center as possible.
Yeah.
I think I probably wanted to put it initially in there, and I think that it wasn't as close to center.
Yeah,
that way.
just a thought,
Yeah.
just to kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
bury it
Oh,
within
sure.
the framework.
Sure.
Well, Jeff, look at the last page for one, which is the perspective, showing
Yeah.
the slope back.
Right.
To Jeff's point, which is.
The angle changes.
Yeah.
The angle, but to Jeff's point, in the original photo, the column location that you show now is in line with the window jamb above in the historic photo.
Right.
And so if you have some latitude, it might be good to locate that column in the vertical line of the jamb of the window above. You know what I mean there? The center window, the left-hand side, it appears to be the line of the original flat storefront. And if you look at your rendering here, You know, I'm saying that maybe this should go over to in line with this, which is maybe 6 inches, I don't know. That would be a field dimension,
Oh, I see, yeah.
and that's what your original photo shows, and that would take this. and
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's a subtle change.
Okay.
And if it's not critical, as this is the structural point, ask your engineer.
Okay.
And this would be a slightly different display, but that alignment makes a fairly, it looks like the original photo, so
I
that
see.
was intention.
That's a good point, I hadn't thought of that.
Well, your
Okay.
drawings are bringing that up.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment?
The only other
I like
change.
the design.
Okay, then I'm looking for a motion.
Oh, actually, I was just gonna say, the other clarification was with the
Yeah,
paint.
we were also changing originally I was hoping to remove the paint from the building,
Oh,
and I did numerous tests with numerous contractors, we tried everything possible. We did power washing, which I didn't like because it started to damage, we did some tests, it started to damage the granite, so I was like, forget it. We did all kinds of solvents, we did peel away 3, we did citrus, we did
Right.
everything you could imagine, all kinds of chemicals. The paint, the upper layers of paint came off. There's like some kind of red pigment or something that they put on, probably, in like 1890 or something, will not come off. And it just historically it's interesting because my building and the building next to it were originally called the Franklin buildings.
Right.
And they were kind of owned by the same person. I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to make it all look like brick. Because the one is brick, and then, so they probably put something red over the granite. And I cannot get that off. So, I wish I could get it off. I don't want to damage the granite doing it.
so this is the color palette that you're choosing?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And are you,
I'm sorry.
I just want to make clear,
Yeah.
you're talking about just from the sign band down? In other words,
No,
No.
the sign, the stone,
Oh, the
the
whole-
stone, yeah.
The colors on the lower part of the facade, the storefront, are the same as the original application.
Okay.
The top is new, obviously, because those are the colors, gonna be what we're gonna paint the granite.
Okay,
So the Coventry gray is the
It's the
style.
color of the granite, exactly right.
okay,
And also the trim, the wood trim will be painted that as well.
okay.
The same gray?
Same granite, yeah.
I wonder if we've, it sounds like you've gone extensively with contractors. I was wondering if there are products that we could get from the historical restoration consultants.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking, you've got 1 or 2 that might have an answer to that
I
question.
would consider it. I certainly would consider, I mean,
I don't want to delay this, which
Yeah.
is right where we are. However, it would be good to get a second opinion by the
Sure.
restoration community, particularly maybe some of our consultants that we can ask about products for granite, either here or in Rochester, who have had that kind of experience.
I would really appreciate that,
Well-
and if I could get it back to the original.
Then
plan,
let's
that'd be
try
awesome.
that, and I hate to delay this,
No,
so,
that's not, we're not at that point yet.
right, that's good then. We
Yeah.
could then approve it based on that recommendation for one further step in the
Sure.
granite restoration.
Yeah, sure.
And can I ask, did you have a lead test done on the paint?
Yes, it's lead. It would have to
Yeah,
be
so that's
an
what
abatement
I'm thinking.
contractor, someone who is certified to do it. No question about that.
Okay, thank you for that.
So would you want to remove the paint for now and separate the?
However you want to make a motion.
Well, we could make a motion approving it if that's the board's desire, with the recommendation to do
Investigate.
further investigation for
Sure,
paint remediation.
yeah. I mean, if I could get that information somehow,
Okay,
yeah,
we'll work on
Yeah.
that.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, and then, and if it was included within the application, then you wouldn't need to come back again.
Right.
Or the approval, if it's
Somebody wanna
part of
make
the
that motion?
approval.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the right phrasing. And just, we'd like to approve the motion as submitted with the comments of reconsidering the first floor post location to align with the left frame of the center window, and secondly, to approve or to, that we
Recommend.
Recommend further
recommend
investigation.
further investigation on the paint removal for the granite.
Do I
But
have
we
a s-
are approving the color if the paint can't be removed,
Right.
That'd be
right?
good. Color approvals would be approved. Colors would be approved.
Correct.
This,
As submitted.
estimate.
Okay.
I think it'll look good actually with the rest of the,
Oh, yeah.
I want it to look like a federal style building.
Sure.
Right.
So it's a
Simple.
little more severe,
Yeah.
and then the stuff around it is red.
I think you're right on track.
Lots of color.
It's
Yeah, I
very
think you're
simple and direct, and that's what federal was.
Do I have a second to
I'll
that
second
motion?
that.
Second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Good job.
Appreciate your caring for that building. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
See
you.
you later, thank you.
Yeah, it is. CA-23-18, 712, 714 Rugby Road, pool installation. Good morning.
Morning.
Good. Could you give your name and address for the record?
Nicole Patron and Peter Papianico, 712, 714 Rugby Road.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome. Okay, why don't you go through what you're,
Okay, so essentially we want to put an in-ground pool in what is now the side yard.
Right.
We went through the subdivision process last week, that got approved. Surrounding the pool will be stamped concrete, which will complement the bluestone, which is up top on the patio deck. And we'll keep a significant ratio of grass to pool area within that side yard. And then obviously everything will be done to be consistent with the aesthetic of the house and the neighborhood.
And your dimensions, thank you for these drawings. You have 8 foot, 4 foot, 4 foot, 15 foot square, that's what these make, thank you. Just want to verify that. And you're, on that drawing also, you show existing paving at the top, which I noticed in the photos are brick, and, is that right?
So half of it is brick and then the back side of that area is bluestone,
Okay. The back side meaning closest to the house, or?
towards the back of the yard.
towards the
Yeah.
towards the backyard
Oh,
line?
well, no, I saw the photo, and, I'm sorry, let me try and, these are the bluestones you're talking about? And this is the brick?
No, so beyond the brick, there's an area where there's a fireplace.
It's up in this,
Yeah.
And then it's bluestone.
On the backside of the house.
Yeah, look at the survey.
That did come through the board. I think previous owners had,
Okay.
it's a fairly, sizable, large, bluestone patio.
This is the street, that bluestone patio is here, and this is a brick walkway to it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotcha, thanks.
Filling in the white space, okay.
Okay, good. Good.
There's one issue that I noticed in terms of the guidelines and how they look at the use of new materials trying to replicate older materials. Stamped concrete has not been approvable because it is artificial replication of another material. In the districts, it's all about original materials, which would be brick or stone, or something compatible with what would have been built in those years, the original years. So stamped concrete, even though it looks pretty impressive in your photo, and it's simple, if this is what you're saying, this is your stamp sample. Again, it's replicating stone tiles, but it's an artificial technique, and that's not recommended. In fact, it's not appropriate. You see that when they do either brick or cobblestones and stamp it out concrete. And it tends not to hold up.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Well, and concrete's would have been done then, so would a brick, and so would stone. And that's my reaction, or the guidelines reaction to this particular stamped concrete application.
I know you've approved it for other houses in the neighborhood, so I didn't think coming in that it would be an issue.
I don't think we have, that I know of.
Some-
You may have
Some people just go and do it.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Or some people do, I shouldn't say a lot.
Would you consider just straight concrete?
I mean, aesthetically, I don't think the straight concrete looks like the stamped concrete does. I think that's much more pleasing to the eye with the rest of the house than just straight concrete. But if that's the recommendation, then
It's the guidelines, it's literally the guidelines for retaining district character. To use original materials, and not to use a material to mimic another material. That's how it's written.
and so just like if it's a matter of semantics, I don't think it's trying to replicate the existing material that's there. I think it's complementing it, like I said.
And it's a pool.
Look at different score pattern within concrete.
Or brooming,
Because
yeah.
Stamped concrete is a technique where it's a stamp on it to give it
a stone surface texture.
Yeah,
Whereas if you took a concrete and poured it,
yeah,
and then you groomed it,
Yeah.
and then you could score it on an angle or whatever you feel is
yeah,
for your design purposes, you could do that instead of doing the stamp on it.
Okay.
You just have a broom finish, which is
Right.
more,
And it would
more
hold up better.
appropriate to,
Okay.
to the appropriateness of the house. And so then you could do a scoring pattern. You know what I mean by
yeah,
scoring
no,
pattern?
I can definitely
Different,
look
you could
into
do different
that.
directions of the broom.
Yeah, you could, in your lounge area, you could have a diagonal, scoring pattern or
Yeah,
whatever
You
your
can do it.
designer can come up with, and that could help differentiate, so it doesn't look just like concrete.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And that could almost, it could give you the illusion of a stamped concrete,
Okay.
but still historically appropriate to the period of the property.
And as Bob said, it'll probably hold up.
Yeah, and it'll hold up a lot longer.
okay,
Because
yeah, I'm definitely amenable to
concrete,
that.
once it starts to flake, it's gone.
Yeah.
Any other
That'd give
questions?
you that'd give you a better surface.
Any other questions or comments? If
I
not,
was-
What's the stone slab? Are those concrete, or excuse me, like
So
a limestones?
Those are like a limestone. The problem with those, they're just not safe at this point. Like, we have two
Oh, yeah.
little girls, so, and they're starting to, yeah. So that was the purpose for replacing those. They're beautiful, but they're just not,
yeah.
Maybe you could use them somewhere else on your site.
yeah, totally, that's what we were thinking.
Pull them out and use them around the patio. So those would be concrete stairs?
Yes,
Okay, and a poured in place?
yes,
Okay.
Again, you could match the technique there with
Yeah.
your pool.
Yeah, you could.
exactly.
And that would just tie it all together.
That would be great.
I visited the site. I went over and looked at the vacant lot where the pool is to go. And I saw the toys and the little wading pool.
They're anxious.
Was he in it at the time? Sorry.
And this is probably a code issue, but I was wondering with young children that you have not fenced off the pool. Now, the lot itself is fenced off, so that might meet requirements. But with young children, the pool within the property is not secured.
Yes, so as of right now, it's not, it's something we were going to look into, but I figured that was something we could reapply, or we could
Sure.
apply for down the road.
Sure.
Because it probably wouldn't go until the end of the summer or next year.
Sure.
Yeah, given,
As long as you
given
meet
the
code.
safety issue,
Right.
given the safety, it's, I'm only bringing up a safety issue.
Yeah, yeah, you could certainly do that.
The pool equipment is located on the front side, close to the front of the house?
Yes.
You propose like any shrubs to screen it so you can see it from the street?
Right now, they don't think we're gonna need additional shrubs, but if we do need additional shrubs, we're definitely,
It'd be going near the AC unit?
yeah,
Okay.
we can absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you put a little lattice or a small
Or just,
plant or a shrub.
just behind that fence that you have there, it looks like would be the place. Just evergreens like your other evergreens.
So we need to get that pre-approved, so let's kind of wait and see if that needed
Yep.
additional bushes needed to
Yep.
be incorporated, but we would just replicate the bushes that are there right now that have.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yes.
Then these are all additional, excuse me, existing trees along the.
No, those will be additional.
Those would be additional.
Those are the additional.
Those are, okay, so you're not showing the juniper that's there now?
That's,
Right,
those
so
are
they're
existing.
arborvitae,
Those are
they're-
existing,
Yeah.
and this will be set back.
And those will be behind that road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
but inside the fence line.
Yeah.
Right, on the back side.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
It's really one of the nicest properties there.
Yeah, it's a great lot.
It's a good lot for a pool.
Yeah.
yeah.
I hate to say that 'cause it's gonna cost a lot of money. Get approved, get approved. It is a good lot for it.
No, it's a beautiful site.
And two little girls and.
Yep, that's great.
Is the, is this row of trees along the fence a part of your application? I'm confused a little bit on whether it should or should not be.
So it's shown in the drawing, it's my understanding that, I don't know if it needs to be part of the
I
application.
don't know either. I'm asking that question to our board to tell
The,
you.
so no, landscaping is not part of the board's purview. You can certainly make recommendations, but,
Therefore, they're not part of the application. If landscaping
They're
is
ju-
not
but-
part of our review, I don't want to approve, what I'm trying to avoid is approving this plan if landscaping with the trees, if the trees are not part of what we're approving. In other words, we could literally say the pool or everything else
I don't think we need to go
Or
there.
we don't need to go there?
We don't need to go there. I think that what we're doing is, or what you're doing is approving the site plan.
It's an
Yeah.
information drawing.
Yeah.
And we're,
Yep.
the details we have in the motion of what we're approving.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm looking for a motion.
One more question, the fire pit area, is that in the corner of the pool there, or the lounge?
No, the
It's-
existing fireplace on the
Right.
top, deck area, that is already there.
Okay, okay, all right, that's.
It's at the back,
Yeah,
right?
it's-
It's way at the back, yeah,
I
yeah,
just,
yep.
I couldn't pin down where it was located, okay, no problem, thank you. Let's leave it.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
I move to approve with the
Condition?
condition that the concrete be not stamped, but poured
Concrete,
and
scored, and brushed, however. Okay.
I second the motion,
Second.
Cynthia's motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Enjoy your pool.
Good luck.
Enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah, enjoy the pool.
CA-23-19, 350 Montgomery Street.
Good morning.
We've seen you before.
Hey,
Welcome back.
please give us your name and address for the record.
David Mercola, Serial Law Offices, 407 South Warren Street, Syracuse, New York, 132.
Okay, so, the floor is yours.
So I think everybody's familiar with what we've been, or what we're proposing in this, I don't know if we're calling it new. Or
It is new.
revised.
It's a new application because the original application was denied, so this is a new
This is a new
application.
one then, all right. So as you may recall, though, I will at least try to incorporate the comments and discussions we've had before on this. We're looking to address the exterior windows along Jefferson and Montgomery Street from the third floor up that were replaced with double hung vinyl windows, which was done, prior to receiving approval. We would like to address the Muntin aspect of those windows. The windows themselves came with internal Muntins, so that you had a 4/4 arrangement. The originals were 6/6. We made an effort at trying to do 6/6, and I think most people's opinion were that it just didn't look good. So, as a compromise to try to maintain, the exterior look of the property and it's close to a condition as it originally existed, we're proposing an 8/8 externally applied Muntin. The Muntin itself is metal, so it's not wood, it's not vinyl. It will last. There is an example that's been put up there. Hopefully everybody's had opportunity to walk by and take a look. So we're proposing that application for all of the windows on the outside. If you recall, there are windows interior to the building where the apartments are gonna be, but that just looks onto the roof, the concert hall area. The other component of the application addresses what I'm gonna refer to and have been referring to as the historic hotel entrance door. So originally, and by original I mean to us, when we purchased the property from the city, there was a gray steel fire door there that had been put up by, I don't know if it was the city or whoever, but I can only assume the original door was in such disrepair that it had to be replaced. So we have currently replaced that with what we're calling a temporary or placeholder door that is aluminum and steel. We are proposing to ultimately, when construction's finished out, that we will replace that door with a modern door made out of aluminum, but that is designed, I don't know if anybody has the color version of this.
Yep.
It is designed to look as close as possible to the only image we've been able to locate of the hotel door. And also, we submitted like a color swatch, and we were looking at a light, I think it was the medium,
Medium and light.
medium and light bronze color.
Right.
If anyone has I realize you don't tell us what to do, but if anybody has a suggestion on which color is the appropriate one.
My reaction was, I like the lighter better.
Well, I tend to think that the dark are just for. It's hard, we need to look for something else on the building to give you a clue. I'm fearful of the light going too much like a light bronze. However, if a bronze could have been what all the doors were, which a medium one might be closest to. It's a tough call, you have to.
And it's hard to trying to find a color photograph that shows.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reality is, there's a few color photographs out there. Everything's from the angle of the corner, like you're standing in Columbus Circle, so you really don't get a good view of the doors.
No, but here's the point. The other doors down the way, the sanctuary doors, might have they're in such bad shape. I can't recall a piece of metal on those doors.
I can't
but there is.
either.
That's all I'm saying, is try and look at that context.
And the question that comes to my mind with that is certainly if there was a chunk of metal, say maybe a kick plate or a piece of metal,
Exactly. Keep,
polish the heck out of it.
yeah.
Is that really the color
Well,
you
no,
want to
but the
see?
point would be, we know what the intention was, and that would help us in this kind of final decision. I recommend we hold off on that these are the right color ranges. We hold off on the final selection until you have a further submittal. Which, in other words, we don't know enough yet.
My thought was, this is a very tiny sample, and a larger surface frequently looks darker than what a sample looks like.
You mean the samples? You mean these
Yes,
images?
yes. And so I thought that in a larger door, it would look darker than the sample does on our sheet.
Fair enough.
That's certainly true with paint.
How about the design? I mean, I think the design that we're proposing for the door seems to match what at least appears to be there.
Yes, it does. One horizontal. Yep.
Yeah.
We could go forward with just like we did in the prior application, with an approval if that's the board's desire, subject to further submittal.
Color.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's what I'm recommending, is that these two colors are certainly the right two out of your palette. We just don't know which one to recommend. And so the door looks good, and the materials are fine. You'll put safety glass in there, I'm sure. It should not be reflective glass. That should be clear. I'm not sure if it is.
I don't think it specifies either way.
I don't either, but,
That's fine.
okay, good. Yeah, that would be approvable at this point. Yeah.
And then the
this
last
is-
component of this application, and everybody keep in mind, there's gonna be
Right.
another application that deals with, well, let me start
Sure.
this way. We wanna take out the sanctuary doors and put in placeholder doors to secure the premises, because we're at the point where we're about to start construction.
Sure.
There'll be thousands of dollars of material in there, there'll be people going in and out. It is a safety issue, not just for the people working in there from a construction standpoint, but also certain members of the public have a tendency to go into open buildings or the buildings that are not secured, and if it's an active construction zone, it's dangerous.
Absolutely. Right.
So we want to do understanding their temporary placeholders. And I think what I'm really asking for, based on our prior discussions, is with the condition that prior to removing them and putting up the placeholders, we will document the doors, the measurements, photograph them, and
Save whatever
provide that
materials you
information, get it over to Kate so she has it on file, because we will be coming back with either a plan for refurbishment of what is there, or if they are not savable, then
I would certainly save anything you can.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And that's the intention, is to do that. And the intention in terms, ultimately, and again, this isn't part of the application before you, but the intention is the doors that go back in are gonna look like the doors should have to begin with, whether they're refurbished or whether they're newly constructed.
That's the
And
goal.
that is gonna be a component of a follow-on application, along with a follow-on application of what are we doing with the, black canvas covered plywood sections that are stuck there between the upper and lower windows that the city had to put in cement on it. Obviously, the plan is not to leave those in. And also some type of securitization or envelope to protect the stained glass that's there, while at the same time providing the necessary environmental sealing for the building. But that, again, those two components are part of the follow-on application, so as
Right.
it pertains to the sanctuary doors today, what we're looking for is approval to put up the temporary doors, which will be similar, I mean, the plan would be they're gonna look like this. I
Right.
mean, all we're trying to do is secure the
Oh, wait,
property.
okay, thanks, I should let
That's
you go further.
not
Keep
for,
going.
not a permanent door, this is not what the final
Right.
door's gonna look like.
Right.
But in terms of what can we get up there that secures it,
Right.
you know, we're not gonna,
Well, your application clearly says placeholder, so.
yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to go one step further on this point. I will recommend to you, and you can take it or not, a flush steel door.
Okay.
Simplest steel, flush, no decoration, no paneling, no lights, unless you feel you need a vision panel for some reason. I would recommend totally flush. The point is almost like a stage exit door.
Right.
In other words, what I'm saying is a blank steel door for security reasons, period, that has locks as you need them.
Right.
And no other ornamentation, or no glass.
I do understand
Understand the point,
the
yeah.
point of that. The point potentially of having a door that is, I'll just use this subjective term, slightly more attractive,
Mm-hmm.
is you're also, as construction gets completed, but before we're finalizing the exterior of the property, there will be opportunities to try to incentivize people to come in and
Well, it's a
look
good.
at the property
no,
and
it's
see it and vision.
Okay.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I understand what you're
It's a
saying.
little bit more,
yeah.
you know,
So what I'm saying is
I do appreciate the
I'm trying to avoid a situation where they become the permanent doors. I'm clearly trying to avoid that.
And I think, and I tried to be clear
Yes,
in
you
here
did.
that they are
You did.
temporary placeholder doors.
Right.
And I, you know, at least as an attorney, I understand what happens if they become the permanent doors. But I understand your point.
I think the board feels that they could be cheap and unattractive. As a placeholder, it doesn't really matter. To me, it doesn't matter what they
As
look like.
a property owner or developer, not that I'm that person, but I represent them. I
But as
understand
long
the
as-
concern about don't try to bait and switch us, okay? I get
No,
that.
and I'm not saying,
But as long as
A
in the
little bit of
application,
attractiveness is
Yeah.
beneficial to the overall marketing of the structure.
I'm very
for-
cautious, because that attractiveness might delay the doors coming in the job when the job's ready to open. The new doors coming back to the project.
I will take the recommendation back to the developer.
I
know
might
that-
put it in the motion, but no, we're okay. We're discussion phase, is that where we are?
no, we're not discussing
Okay,
this.
we're looking at this application, fine, that's enough discussion on that, we made the
So,
points.
these are just a 7-foot door, commercial aluminum storefront door, and you're gonna pan the remaining opening?
Correct. Yeah, yes, we're not proposing a
Right. No,
traffic
but-
arch.
No, I'm just.
Placeholder door, but yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yes, there's a
nothing
component above
showing
it that's gonna
how the
be-
historic opening will be infilled, so you're gonna frame it out and just pan it.
Yes.
Temporarily, along with this new aluminum storefront door that could be glass and or slab. Right? Okay.
He raises
And
a
in,
good- he
and in
raises a
my,
good-
you know, in my opinion, as long as the application clearly says placeholder door, I think it's,
Okay.
the applicant's decision as to what they want to do.
And I think, but Jeff's point's well taken. Your application should include all the panning for the upper portions of the windows as well as the doors. You know what I'm saying? In other words, the closure and panning of protection of those upper transoms would seem to be part of your door application.
Right.
Your consultants would probably advise that, but, and your security issues. And you're preparing that, so this is again
Just
advisory.
need to see the whole unit, right? There's the whole opening, we're not just proposing 7 feet of it, it's a 14-foot opening, so I'd like to see what the rest of that looks like
Gotcha, okay.
on a drawing. Just, or, you know, just a section of it, just to show the panel infill.
Yeah,
Is that enough on the doors? I have some questions about the windows.
no, let's go further on that. Just the last bit is the entire Gothic arch of the doors and the decorative glass above should be part of your application.
Okay.
And the reason is it all has to be restored.
Wait a minute. Are you intending to replace the upper portion? Or is that
Have you?
sufficient for
does
security
everybody
reasons at
recall-
this point?
I'm trying to recall what the material is above.
Right.
that
The
fair
intent is, it may be, the intent would be,
Tracery of it.
to remove the doors and put placeholders in,
Right,
while preserving what's above it, if that's
right,
possible.
right. That's what I thought also.
Right, but the doors are 12 feet or 10 feet, and we're talking about 7 doors, so we have still a 5-foot hole above the door in the historic door opening.
I'm confused, Jeff, the doors are 7 or 8 feet tall.
Well, I'm, like the sanctuary doors, I feel they're taller.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are.
I think they're 8-foot-ish, yeah.
Okay, all right,
I've
well,
got-
then I don't see a panning detail for the difference, is my point.
And maybe I misunderstand what you're saying. I mean, I'm talking about, we're gonna take the doors out, you're gonna frame them in.
Right, so
And-
you're gonna take these sanctuary doors out,
Yeah.
right, so if this is a 7-foot door, right, you carry that line over, 7 foot's here. So you have this void space that will be created when you install your temporary doors, your placeholder doors.
I see what you're saying.
So this space would be open. I believe this above it is terracotta or some stone tracery with window inside.
Okay.
But this space,
Okay.
turn the corner, this space on the Montgomery Street side.
Yeah. So, the point being that
Right.
that's just gonna have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna be part of the placeholder.
Yeah,
But there's
absolutely.
no language in here that calls it out, so I'm just making sure that that's
Okay.
counted into this door space.
It would be in.
They'll find out when they take the doors out.
Yeah, well,
But that goes along with protecting the historic opening that we've mentioned at the previous meeting and how that's treated, that we don't damage it. That's like,
certainly.
gets a little deeper.
Absolutely. As far as whether you wanna call it panning or framing that out, I mean, my expectation is you're gonna have painted wood above the door that is just there to secure it for the environment, provide the upper
It's a
support.
temporary panel.
Exactly.
Yep, fair enough. Just as long as that's captured.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussions before we go to a motion?
No, he has some questions up there.
Windows, the windows from 4, 5, and 6 were replaced, but we're highlighting only the 4th and 5th floor for the conversion of the 8/8s. We've excluded the top floor in the drawings.
Top floor is included.
No, I think the
Top floor is included.
The proposal is to cover, if the drawing,
Still showing 4/4 on the 3rd floor, and it's not highlighted in the drawing, to say that it's been updated? Am I reading this wrong?
Yeah, no, you're reading it right, and both of your comments are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not on there, but it should be.
it should be. Well, let's clarify that, the top floor,
Windows are shorter,
yes, and
and they have the,
so,
they have the.
so what
transoms on them.
so what we're seeing in the drawing is that the 8/8s would happen only on 3 and 4, or 4 and 5, sorry.
4 and 5.
4 and 5, and not 6, is what I read from this. And that
Yes.
would seem to make sense.
Right.
In terms of what's been done. I think that's the thought process of your consultants here.
Yep.
So that the top floor would not have additional mullions, that's what this is showing. Clarification, you would need exteriors, but not in a 6/6. You would have an exterior 4/4 on the 6th floor over the interiors already installed 4/4. I think that was the intent, is to add muntins to all of the windows, is the intent. And because the 6th floor is a different pattern, it does not make sense to go to a smaller 6/6 on the 6th floor
Or
version.
even 8/8 if you will.
Well, that's.
It would be.
Yeah, exactly right, sorry.
Start looking very
Well,
straight.
I bring it up because I see it's excluded, and I just wanted to know what was going on with that, but
No, the
at
button
the same time,
application's fine for up there, but in the pattern that was,
I'm trying to remember what the sashes were on the 6th floor, because they were shorter, so I don't know if those were.
So the application, I think, is meaning to apply exterior 4/4 muntins to the 6th floor windows.
correct.
Right.
It's not articulated that way. And on the-
But they'll be 4/4.
Yes, because you're not.
Because the windows are
all
short.
For everything else will be, okay,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah, and then the exterior to match the other exteriors on the 2 floors below, which are shown in the application
Okay.
as, God bless me, sorry.
As 8/8.
So to move this forward, does somebody want to try to
Corral a motion?
Corral, a motion, and a second, and then any final discussion. Something like maybe
Go for it, Jeff.
we approve,
You can do it.
we approve as submitted with the following caveats,
Conditions.
Conditions.
following conditions, rather.
Wait, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we've got our hotel door as submitted, right?
With final approval of color.
Color, right, hotel. By owner. We have sanctuary doors to be replaced with a
Temporary.
placeholder, aluminum storefront door, correct?
Yep.
Aluminum. Where the height difference from the original opening to the new door will be panned,
Yep.
appropriate material.
Let Jeff finish.
Sorry.
I'm just going around the building. And then, the replacement windows on the 4th and 5th floor, showing the mutton patterns of 8/8.
Exterior applied.
Exterior applied mutton patterns of 8/8. And the 6th floor with exterior mutton pattern of 4/4.
Okay, so that's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion on the motion.
Yeah, are we approving?
Yes.
with
That's
this
what the motion
Okay.
is.
I'm speaking for the whole board here as discussion. This application is inappropriate by all the standards that we have in front of us as commissioners for the Landmark Preservation Board, which is what we are. You may not agree with some of those, well, that's an interesting point. That's a whole other point. Let's state it this way. The application shows vinyl windows of a different, which is a non-traditional material. The traditional material is wood. The application shows double hung windows, which is not the original, which are casements. And the design shows a different design pattern than the original design. There are no, every one of these three items are available through the industry in competitive cost options that were not investigated. The application put these windows, the applicant put these windows in knowing that it was, that's a whole secondary issue. These were put in without application or review. I speak to the board's deepest intent of supporting all our historic properties in the city, of which this is one of the premier historic treasures. And our goal is to do the best we can to the Secretary of Interior standards for this owner's value in his own property and for the future generations of Syracuse, towards the quality of this as a piece of history. I urge you all to speak to deny the application.
Any other discussion?
I'm really conflicted, because I agree with everything that was just said. And I don't want to set a precedent where an applicant can do whatever they please and then come and ask for forgiveness. And yet, we have a building here that has been empty for a very long time. And it looks like we have a developer who wants to put money into it and revitalize it. And I want to see the building actively used again. And I hate to do anything that would stop this project and put this building back into a state of
Limbo.
Yes, yes. So as I say, I'm very conflicted. I don't know how to vote on this.
Well, we have to vote, call a vote. Any other discussion?
I've had the same thoughts, and actually I've been thinking about this application since our last meeting, and weighing the same things over in my mind that Bob said and what Cynthia too has said. Because there is a basic conflict that in some ways cannot be resolved. So you've got to make a choice.
I have another comment, which I think I can
Yep.
offer. This is a resolvable project. The owner can put in the correct windows.
I'm talking about this application,
This motion.
this motion.
I'm talking
Yes.
about this application, but that it can be, this application and this project can be resolved as historically accurate. It's capable, the project's not gonna die. And I urge you to vote against this application.
I think we're all conflicted due to the reality, yet at the same time, we have been working with this applicant along these lines, and I think we have to take a vote. So if there's no other comment,
I'd just like to add my comment, it's been said, but from day one, with this came to us as an illegal window replacement that wasn't permitted. It really set the precedent of the project and our review. We were always reactionary to what was happening. And that's not the position that I feel that we should be in as a board, reacting to illegal activity. But as Don just stated, here we are, we've been working with the owner. This is 3 months now, 4 months now.
and Corporation Counsel has advised us in the past and continues that this is not a precedent setting. Each application is on its own.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, I don't want this to be a precedent, as Cynthia stated as well, to have this come before us and
We can put that as a comment in the,
that we look complicit with it. I don't wanna,
What did the council say about precedent
this would not be a precedent.
and the reason?
And they've said that in the past. Each application is on its own merit.
I can tell you from what I do, that while it's sometimes fun to point at the board and say, well, you did this the last time,
We got that earlier
it's
today.
very easy for the board to say, and that was a completely different application,
Right.
because precedent,
Right.
the way that I think you're using the term precedent, you're trying to impose a legal force to that, like when a court makes a decision and establishes precedent.
Yeah,
That doesn't apply, I wish, believe me, there are times I've had clients, I wish.
I appreciate
could
that.
come in.
Let's not discuss that too much further
Yeah.
because that issue,
If
is
there's
not
no
this
more comment,
application.
I'm gonna call the question. So all in favor of the motion?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Can't believe it, guys.
Okay.
Can't believe it.
All right, let's move on.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, zoning referrals, special permit SP-23-11, 120 Walton Street. Is that applicant here?
Yes. Okay, yeah, they are,
I have to leave.
You have to leave?
Yeah, I can't take it anymore.
so these are, that's one for everyone.
All right. Chase, your name and address for the record?
Cheryl Chase, the address on the application, 120 Walton Street.
Okay.
The type of sign.
Do you want pictures for this?
This,
Sorry.
that's,
So I messed up with the copying thereof.
Okay, our jurisdiction is to comment.
I don't have any information.
Okay, while Kate's passing it out, why don't you go through and explain where you are?
we're just looking, I believe, for signage approval right now.
Yes.
What we're trying to do is really pretty simple. Our primary entrance is going to be where the awning previously was on the building. So we are centering the sign over that portion of the building. So the awning comes down, the sign will be centered there, level with the Bentley, what does it say?
Bentley settle, yeah.
Other side.
The other
Yep,
side, so that awning is gone?
That awning is going, it's not.
It's
gone.
going, yeah, I didn't think it was gone, okay.
that is going, so that's where we're proposing to put our sign, centered in line with the existing signage on the building already. The lettering will be offset and lit from behind, and it's just gonna say the Whiskey Coop. And underneath is gonna be our tagline, which is a fried chicken and bourbon joint. And that will not be lit.
We don't have that.
So this whole panel is
So
2
we're-
feet 4 inches tall?
Correct,
The yellow?
correct,
And it's 12 feet long.
correct.
And then it's settled, excuse me, centered in that bay where the awning is,
Correct, the orange
Both.
awning.
both,
Yep.
both horizontally and vertically within that sign bay. How is it mounted to the building?
That's in the detail on that page that you're looking at there.
Yep.
And we just received that late last night, so
Late,
sorry
yeah.
you didn't get it earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
The old awning was there because of outside seating?
Correct.
Because I can see the railing around that platform. The awning was probably put up for the outside seating, and you're not planning on outside seating, or it doesn't matter anymore?
I would still like to do outside seating, but my understanding from the property owners is that because they're trying to restore the building to its historic nature, the awning has to go. It doesn't fit in with that. So that's
Well, I guess it got approved. Right? At one time, it was approved.
So it's backlit.
I don't know. I was told that on the.
And what's the sign going to say again?
The name of the restaurant is the Whiskey Coop, so that's what the sign says, the Whiskey Coop. And then you can see a small hanging piece underneath, and that says a fried chicken and bourbon joint.
And then there's a chicken.
So it's not gonna be this sign.
There should be no chicken on it unless we have the wrong one.
Okay, it's a really ugly sign.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to,
Unfortunately, yeah, the drawings, yeah.
Chicken on it, it's just the wording.
Oh,
It's
that's what I was
centered.
asking.
So
Is
they
it-
may have sent you, an older version. We removed that because it didn't center properly with that on it. So we took the chicken off and we're just doing the lettering. I'm sure I have the
so
updated
there's
version here.
the name of the business and then below in smaller script in both of those.
Correct. Can I take
And that's a hanging
Both of
symbol.
those lines are lit.
I don't have much.
No, she said the bottom line was not lit.
I don't have anything.
No, they sent you,
Yeah.
sorry, I thought they sent you an updated one and clearly they didn't.
Yeah, what the actual sign will look like?
Yes, yeah.
This is really not a very attractive sign.
That's not what it's supposed to be. And it's just a simple sign, it's just words, so.
Good design.
But
So
the
is it
sign-
two, it's 2 pieces, you're saying?
No, that's showing,
Let me pull it up real
That's
quick.
yeah, she's gonna
This is
showing the lighting.
That's not our sign,
Yeah,
that's
they're
just
showing the
sample
lighting.
lettering, that's just
Right,
showing
so
the lighting.
which lighting scheme is being proposed?
That's the same.
It's the
that's
same thing,
That's
sorry,
the two pictures.
the-
The
yeah,
one is unlit and the second one is lit, so you're just seeing it unlit and also lit.
yeah.
That's all that's
It-
showing.
It's the problem with my printing.
That's just so you can see.
Yeah, I think you may have 4 that are
Yeah, there's 3 lit, okay.
But the sign itself is gonna be attached to the building, and the sign itself is a dimension that goes
Where the
above
awning,
the existing sign band.
Right, 2 feet 4 inches is the back of the sign.
Right.
And within that 2 feet 4 inches, you have the name of
The
the
restaurant.
restaurant, thank you, and
And
then
then
below
a
is the
tagline.
slogan.
So underneath,
I'm
so
so
the,
sorry, I can't believe they didn't
No,
send
we're-
you the updated version. That is what it, that's it right
So
there.
this is a sign,
okay, so the,
And
so the second
That's
piece
larger.
hangs
Right.
underneath the sign band.
Correct, yes, because it wasn't balanced.
oh, that's
As it
okay,
was.
that's okay.
Okay.
The other one is misleading.
And it's not balanced,
But,
that's why we removed the
but then you have the
chicken.
second piece too, that's underneath the sign
And
band,
you say
that
that's
says a
hanging
with,
underneath? Yes. Like with
chicken and beer or
Yes.
something. Chicken and
I
beer.
mean, it'll be fixed, but it's mounted below.
Okay, mounted.
on that same 2 foot.
Yes,
there's a-
it'll be
there's a
mounted off of
backboard
that.
that's
Yes.
this is applied to, that's hooked onto the building.
And then this
Attached to
hangs
the-
below the
Yeah.
sign.
Correct.
Okay,
Because
so
it's
the actual
large
store,
in the initial design.
the actual store name is the same size as the sign band that's there now?
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Okay,
just
that's a lot
simpler
better.
and cleaner.
This
Yes.
one's a lot better than
Yeah.
what that one is showing, 'cause that's
That was
totally
cluttered
different.
and unbalanced and, yeah, so we revised that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't believe they sent you the.
Okay, that's hence the confusion.
I will forward this one right now.
Yeah, if you can forward it to me, that's perfect, and I'll make sure that Jeff, has it. Kate Auwetter, AUW.
Would you just want me to?
Oh, sure. Oh, no. You don't know how to spell Auwetter? That's really surprising. No, so it's AUWAER, like the radio station. TER. Yeah.
So again, our jurisdiction is to comment, so our comment is in the affirmative?
With the revised,
With the
the
revised.
revised comment, yeah, yeah. And I'll make sure I send that to Jeff to make sure he has it, yep,
Sorry, I don't know. We went through a lot of versions, but.
yeah.
Sign band.
Yes,
Within the sign band.
yeah.
Within the sign
existing-
band.
The sign itself is within the existing sign band.
Yes.
So is there any concern about the second one? The hanging piece?
It's removable, so.
Well, it's
She says it's fixed, though.
Oh, it's fixed.
It's not
Blowing in the wind.
blowing in the wind, it's fixed to the building, it's just hanging below the original, or the. name of the
Located
restaurant.
below.
It's attached below, but attached to the sign, right?
It's attached to the sign, so it doesn't move. Okay. It still is removable.
I don't have an issue.
I don't have an issue with it.
And would that be the only signage? There's no window decals, none of these?
We don't have plans for that at this point, but we may later. I know we are gonna come back for a second sign permit later, but we didn't wanna hold the initial thing off for, a barrel.
That'd be through zoning.
When is this scheduled to open?
Oh, no time soon. We don't even have our building permits yet, so we.
I would
we've
comment
got
that
lots of
if you
time.
want to come back at some point, it's totally up to you for additional signage.
We will come back
In
for
terms
additional
of
signage.
windows, you're probably gonna exceed the sign ordinance, and we generally do not approve them.
Okay.
It's just gonna say, we have to follow the sign ordinance.
Right.
Follow the ordinance.
Thank you for that. That's a good comment. Okay, so I think we're all set.
Thank you so much.
Okay, last item on the agenda is a pre-development, 801 West Fayette Street. Is that applicant? there?
Yes,
Individual.
individuals.
Last but not least,
Thanks.
Good morning. Could you please give us your name and address for the record?
Mine is Jacob Garris. Address is 119 Dorset Road, Syracuse, New York.
Okay, so this is discussion phase only, which means that, just what it says, we're discussing it. Anything we say is just a recommendation. We're not bound necessarily. The only decision-making we make is when there's a certificate. So why don't you let us know what's going on?
We are seeking advice right now because we are in the development phase. These are conceptual drawings, and not necessarily materials we use to proceed with. We are maintaining an industrial space. It's a wood shop. And we're intending to put 8 residential units on the second floor. The original use, I thought was a box shop, I was a box maker, but I'm informed it was actually a lumber company originally, so it's kind of cool.
The building proper was initially, 100 years ago, a lumber company.
Wow.
Yeah. So there were 2 additions made to the original building. We're not entirely sure of the years, but this is the last addition, which is the lower portion on the north side of the building. Was added sometime in the 60s. We have 2 major questions we would like to add, let me back up a little. Based on the way the trusses hang in the roof, the second floor is suspended. It's completely suspended from these trusses, and it's really interesting architecturally. And we wish to feature this within the apartments that we're going to put in there. So we want to preserve this and use those trusses. If you look at the second floor, do you have the second floor?
Yep.
If you look at the second floor, the apartments in that portion of the building right here work along with the trusses so that we can really showcase those. Unfortunately, because of the way the trusses go, putting in an interior corridor has become really problematic. So the solution we came up with our architect Lee Walton was to do an exterior corridor over that latest addition that was added sometime in the 60s. So you can kind of see, it's hard to see in the north, drawn from the north side, but it was like green outline area right there. Yeah. And based on my interpretation of the interior standards for rehabilitation under 9 and 10, it does allow for additions to be made as long as they're distinctive from the original. So we were hoping that this could be an addition that we make that would not, be disrespectful of those standards.
Would that be covered?
It would be covered because of the way the drainage is and the snow load. The architect recommended.
But it'll be open but covered.
It will be covered. It'll be
It's interior space.
Oh, it is an interior space, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
building an exterior hallway.
Okay.
But it is
It's
interior.
It's exterior now, but it would become interior hallway.
I see.
Servicing
Yeah.
the apartments.
Our original hope was to have like an open sort of courtyard so that every apartment could have their
Right.
own private exterior space.
Right.
But because of the snow load and the drainage, and the way our architect
Right.
is recommending that we shy away from that and instead is currently proposing sort of a double loaded corridor with kind of enclosed open sunny area, then with another corridor that will be the public access to the apartments on that side. So we have been talking about materials because the way it's presented in the drawings, it kind of blends in. And originally we were thinking of doing something completely transparent so that you could potentially see straight through to the original architecture. We thought that would be really
That's always nice, yes.
Yeah. It also would make it really open and sunny for that area. It would have more of a feel of like a Four Seasons porch from the inside of the
I don't have my glasses, but this is not the new edition. This is the furthest
Yes.
okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that
So
was
we don't
the-
have anything that shows what that could possibly look like.
We do have, actually, we have some, why don't you show her these? I think that this is a descriptive. It's kind of a perspective view.
Why don't you just pass that around?
Have you been to OHA
okay.
for any research for any
No.
historic images?
We are looking to seek historic tax credits and we'll be doing all of that research, absolutely.
We did a little bit initially back in 2006 when the building was originally purchased by a friend of mine, and that's how we discovered it was a lumber yard or a lumber company.
Yeah.
But that was 2006. I barely remember any of what we found back then.
Sure. Well, just
Of the original building.
some general comments. You're
Are they gonna?
reutilizing the existing historic openings, it looks like. You're
Yeah, the historic
keeping the
openings.
That's correct.
Openings correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
we'd basically be we would remove the sill and the knee wall, so a section of the brick and turn those into doors.
Yeah,
On the west wall.
on the west wall.
Right.
Yes.
So street facade
Street facade stays the same.
stays the same. It looks like you're keeping the historic 6/6.
All of that stays.
Windows, all that stays. So you're gonna reopen all of the boarded up openings, ground floor as well, or you
Yes.
see it's a different treatment?
No,
That's actually drawn incorrectly.
Okay.
It will be open, all the windows will be open.
Okay, because it looks like, I don't know, Cynthia, if you recall for dates, I mean, this is probably
remember.
this is probably like 1870 with a 1940s addition to the rear. That reads very
That sounds
modern.
right. That sounds right, yeah.
And then this building to the north maybe is same age, but it's still the seven
Yeah.
buildings at one time, they're just kind of thrown together.
That's right, there's actually there's actually four. So it's the building proper, the original building.
Four
which is-
buildings.
Yeah, that
Yes,
sounds
and
right.
then it's the large square addition, and then these two, which are the poopiest, you know.
Which ones are you playing, sorry?
This back addition here,
Yes,
these
yeah.
are actually two.
Okay.
yeah, so if you look at the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, that'd be the 60s kind of thing.
Yeah, they-
Base. Main block, one addition, second addition, and another building.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and this would be where that double load.
Right. Do you have any interior photos of that truss system, or no?
We don't, but, we'll get them.
It's hanging.
They're actually, it's very interesting.
Is it steel or wood?
It's wood. It's wood. They're
Large beams.
very, very large truss beams, similar to what's in VIP structures.
They're really cool.
You know, the big stuff that they have in VIP.
And then there are these metal poles,
Metal rods.
yeah, that hang down and it's just
So there's no posts on the first floor. So it allows the whole first floor to be open
The
for
original
shopping.
open concept.
Yeah.
So,
I think your approach of your exterior hallway on the second floor to allow access in, I think that's a really great idea conceptually for
yeah,
historic
I like
preservation.
the
Yeah,
idea
it all
of
depends
making
on
it
the
as
design.
black,
Yeah.
as glass as possible.
Yeah, as much glass as possible, and you could do a translucent box
Yeah.
Yeah, we
on
were,
that addition. You know, like you said, you want to discern.
well, again, it depends on the design. The standard wants it to be distinguishable, but still very sensitive to material, scale.
we were thinking something even along those lines as far as just separating it. We're not,
Almost turning it into like a museum.
Tom?
I made the remark before that this building has caught my eye. I drive on West Fayette quite a bit, and I've kept thinking, this could look so much better. And I've even looked at especially at the brickwork, because we're mostly concerned with the exterior. We're interested in the interior trusses, but we're really concerned with the exterior. And especially at the lower part, closer to the ground, some of those bricks are in really poor condition. And one of the things that struck me too was I loved the color of the brick in the wall, but I really didn't like the paint that had been used on the building. So I hope that red paint that had been used is never, I hope that goes away. Maybe you cannot have the brick exposed again. You're gonna end up painting the walls, because some of the damage looks pretty severe with the lower bricks. But get closer to the original brick color than that red.
Yes.
Red is, to me, is extremely unattractive in spite of I always look at that building.
It's cool.
well, this is dating back to 2006 when my friend originally purchased the building, and my father's a bit of a masonry restoration nut, and he has always felt the same exact way. He absolutely hates the paint.
It's awful.
He doesn't believe in painting brick. You know, he thinks especially the older brick, you know, you lock in the moisture, the mortar starts to go. And, you know, he wants to get Portland cement back in there, retuck it and everything, and repoint it. How feasible it is, we're not sure yet, but it's something we've been kicking around since 2006. We'd absolutely love to. Love to. The only thing that we would be changing about the exterior of the building on the Oswego Street side, or the east side, would be the windowsills themselves. The brick windowsills would be going, and they would be replaced with precast windowsills that are such as that on the addition. Just because they're in bad shape. They don't really work well with the weather. It gets beaten on that side of the street there.
The way they're positioned.
The way that they're
they
positioned,
want
it's just,
to retain.
yeah. but the rest of it would be exactly the same. You know, we wanna keep the windows the same, you know, the only thing that we would be changing is just the precast.
I guess, given the location, my main interest is the Fayette Street facade.
Well, I think you've got a wonderful idea, and you're going the right way about it, so we appreciate you coming in and discussing this. I think we're here to support you with any questions going forward.
What I'd also say is that as you, whether it's precast on a sill, as you get these ideas, feel free to come back and run them by us before you spend the money.
I don't think we need to make decisions, this is just general discussion.
Yeah, these are just.
I would say that your intention in terms of that box goes a little too far.
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think, you know, you're introducing really new materials there, and that is not in concert with the standard.
Petronium.
Yeah, again, I don't have my glasses, so, the windows on the, because I know you said that it'll be apartments upstairs. I can't tell, but I don't know, are the windows operable? Like, yeah, no, I'm saying like, so they aren't now. They're boarded up, most of them. Yeah, no, I mean, they're boarded up, but do they open? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, they appear to be double hung, so
Yeah.
Okay.
again, we would recommend to install double hung windows, and obviously on the back.
And this first floor is not. I can't see, I'm sorry.
I hope you're not driving.
I am.
There's actually a mix of those windows, so the double hung windows look like something that was put in almost as like we can't tell which is which, because the majority of it is the steel windows.
Right, and that would have been the 40s edition on the back, but these 1880s double hung windows that are in the front to the original building.
Probably would have been.
Right, these in the same section. This is all steel back here.
Yeah,
That's the addition.
different eras as they reconstructed it, but yeah, on the back side, they put in large steel panel windows.
Let's have one conversation at a time.
So, but I would just repeat that fenestration, you know, where, again, we look at the streetscape. So we would look at these being what, you know, originally wood windows that were double hung. So we would look at these two streetscapes on the Sweet Ones that they had to replicate that. They had that image on the back side that they've already been replaced. Again, it's still the period of significance for this location in the 40s. So those are still appropriate for the building, the steel frame windows, and they're a mixture of fixed, and then some of them have awning or hoppers for ventilation, and that's perfectly great to keep the hoppers. Yeah, that's perfect, you know, and keep them, maintain them, and that's part of the fabric and the history of the building. So that's something to be expressed and to be kept.
Well, what we were thinking about doing is very similar to what Rick DeStito did at the Gear Factory. He had basically pretty much the identical windows that we have. And and when he went through and did them, he kept them, you know, very, very similar down to the dimension that they were divided lights. We were hoping to do that.
Good.
Well, make sure that you check with the SHPO because you want the tax credits.
Yes, that's
So
really
you have to be sure that they are going to approve it, and they have to approve it before you do it.
before you do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and my other concern about this design, that I would like your advice on, is that we, on the second floor, in order to make entryways for the apartment, will be removing 4 of those windows and turning them into, you know, putting a doorway in there.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
I mean,
You're keeping the arch and everything else, just basically structure sill and the knee wall in that area.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's required
That's what's required for the
for the project.
Okay, great.
I just have maybe just one quick thing is just, you know, maybe you've already done this, but document, just take photographs so that, and it's, and then have someone from the State Preservation Office come and take a walkthrough with you too, and that's pretty easy to organize. And then, I do have a third thing, just really quick. Cynthia actually did a multiple properties, what's called a but a multiple properties document for industrial buildings. It basically created the context for industrial buildings and our industrial history here for the city, which helps leapfrog you with the National Register nomination. So I can certainly get that cover doc to you. But if you're hiring a consultant to write the National Register nomination, it's really good to have that, let them know that it's part of this context already. And
So it doesn't have to stand alone.
it doesn't, yeah.
It can be part of a larger nomination that's already been established.
A step, yeah,
Yeah, you're not starting from zero.
yeah, yeah. So it's
I
a
did
step
have
forward.
one other question though. William Wilton, is proposing this kind of metal cladding, thank you, on the exterior. He says that he believes it's appropriate cladding for the time.
We'd have to see it. I don't think we wanna.
Yeah, I think we're getting into the weeds on that.
See a sample of it.
See a sample and exactly where and how.
And, but I'd also say that the board tends to take the lead from the State Preservation Office. So if they say, yes, we think this, you know, should move forward with the tax credits, then take the lead from, because it's, you know, you want those 20% or 40% tax credits. Right? Yeah, they'll drive, yeah, yeah. So we'll be a little bit further down the line in terms of the review at that point.
No. Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope so. It's just, we're trying to save that building.
Yeah, that's great.
You can contact Rick, he's a good one to.
Yeah, no, we have been. Since he got his building, it was right around the same time. Yeah,
Good, good.
That's a good resource.
Yeah, no, he is.
A
Thank you very
different
much.
scale of building. Wow, yeah.
And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. We can close and just have a question after.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We're adjourned. Yes.